Okay. When you've used interchangeable lens cameras, you've actually
Once or
used
twice.
many. You've owned Nikons and Canons and Lumixes and Fujis. You've owned like almost everything except for like Sony, probably.
It's true. And I've used Sony interchangeable lens cameras.
Sure. So whenever you're using an interchangeable lens camera, you have the like a dot or a line or something on the camera that tells you how to align the bayonet mount for a modern system. There's also a button to release the lens so that you can take it off.
Right.
These are not necessarily always in the same spot.
Right.
So when you are looking at the front of a camera, you're looking dead on, the lens mount is open, you can see the sensor.
Unless you have a Lumix camera.
Or a Canon camera.
That's true.
Either way, and you have that setting turned on. Either way, you're looking straight on. What is the correct location for the red dot that tells you where to align the lens? And what is the correct location for the button to release the lens?
It's an interesting question. So when we say straight on, it's like somebody's taking a picture of you and they're holding the camera.
Yes.
Like that perspective.
Yeah. And if you think of the logo being on the top center, that's 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. I can tell you how I wish it was, which is not how my camera is. What I would find most intuitive would be for the dot to be at 12 o'clock facing straight up, and for the release button to be, I guess, 3 o'clock, like on the left side. That's what I would prefer. And the reason I say that is because when I change lenses, I hold the lens in my right hand. I hold the camera in my left hand. And I want to be able to release the old lens, use my right hand to pull it off. And then, I'm lining up the dot to put the new lens on. And I'm doing that with my right hand. I'm describing this would work best for me.
What? You have the camera in your left hand.
Yeah. Usually.
You have the lens in your right hand.
That is usually what I do. That's how I change lenses.
This is like a how to use a fork situation. So you're holding the camera with your left hand, and I guess with which finger do you press? Would you press the button that's at the 3 o'clock position?
Like my middle finger or something.
Okay, so you press it with that, and then you align, and then you put the lens on. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do on my Lumix camera. My Lumix camera has the button at the. I think it's at, I can't quite remember, but I think the button on the Lumix is at like
it's at 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and I do it the same way. Like I'll hold the camera kind of like from the bottom or from the left side, and I just like reach one of my fingers up and hit that button like as I'm twisting the lens off.
Nikon, Sony, and Canon all have the button at the 3 o'clock position.
Yeah.
What you're describing is the Canon way.
That is exactly how it works.
The red line is straight up on a Canon, and the button is at 3 o'clock.
I think that's for me, the way I change lenses, that's the most intuitive place that could possibly be, because on the Lumix camera, the line is basically where the button is. The dot is also at like the 7 o'clock position, and it's always really annoying for me to line up because I can't see that from the top.
I mean, that makes sense, right? I think that nobody does it correctly. All of them are wrong. This is the correct way to do it.
Okay, tell me.
You're already holding the camera, right? You're holding the camera. You got it by the grip, which is on the right side because they don't make left-handed cameras.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you're going to hold the camera with your right hand because it's already in your hand.
Yeah.
And so you need to be able to press the button with your right hand.
Yeah, this does make sense. Like this is probably why the Lumix one is in the position it is.
And so the correct button, the correct location for the button is at 7 o'clock. Anytime I change lenses on something where it's in the 3 o'clock position, like a Sony, I'm like, what is happening?
So
I don't even know how to. I'm like, how am I supposed to hold the lens with my left hand and press this button at the same time?
Where is it on Fuji?
It's on the bottom right. It's on the 7 o'clock position.
So it's the same as Lumix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lumix and Fuji put the button in the right spot. Nikon, Sony, and Canon all put it in the wrong spot.
Where's the dot on Fuji?
The dot for Fuji is at 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock? It's exactly halfway between 9 and 12.
See, I think that's a little better because like, even the way I change lenses or the way you do, having it on the upper half it makes it easier to see where it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like being able to see where that dot is helps a lot.
It needs to be on the upper half. Every time I try to align a Lumix lens,
Yeah.
I can't see the dot.
Yeah.
Like on Fuji, I'm like pressing the button with my ring finger, my middle finger, and I can line up from the top and see it easily and lock it in. Then the dot's aligned at 12 o'clock whenever it's locked. So that kind of makes sense.
I don't know why they did it that way.
Nikon puts it at 2 o'clock, Canon at 12, Fuji at 11,
Interesting.
and Lumix puts it on the button, which is ridiculous, maddening.
Yeah.
And
It's a strange decision.
I mean, I personally want the red dot straight up the middle. I want it at noon.
Yeah.
Where Canon
I would love
puts it.
that. Yeah, because then you're holding the camera, you're changing the lens.
That makes
You
perfect
can
sense
see
to
it.
me.
Yeah.
I could make an argument for the Nikon version because if I'm holding the camera with my right hand and I'm looking down on it, I'm not looking straight down probably when I'm putting a lens on.
Yeah.
I'm probably turning it slightly so I can
Exactly.
like see where I'm mounting it. So I think the Nikon position kind of makes sense, but they're buttons in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
So this is
the kind of thing we talk about at the show. Like I feel like nobody thinks about these things, and it's funny how opinionated we are.
they just get used to it. And the answer here is that everyone's doing it wrong, and the correct way is 7 o'clock and 12 o'clock.
Everyone's doing it wrong, but you know the right way they should do it.
If they would just reach out to me, it's too late, right? I mean, everyone's made their decision.
Yeah.
If Sony, like they come out with some new camera, like I don't know, an a7R6, and I'm making up camera numbers, a7R6, whatever, and they moved the button to be on the bottom, like
wild.
people would lose their bananas.
Yeah, lose their bananas.
It wouldn't. What is happening?
Yeah.
It would be the only thing anyone was talking about. I think that some camera companies should do it whenever next time they bomb a camera. They're like, "Well, how are we going to release this?" They're like, "Well, let's just move the button." People are only going to talk about that.
There you go.
And they won't talk about how bad the camera is.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah, it's called. You just gotta obfuscate.
Welcome back to the Camera Gear Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
Daniel, you have this set of coasters on your table here.
I do.
And
They're a B&H product.
They're made by Craftmaster, I guess. And it's shaped like a lens. And it is a set of magnetic coasters. And it magnetizes into 5 different pieces.
Yep.
And it's a lens. And it is black. It is fat. And it has a red ring on it.
Yep.
So it looks like an L series Canon lens.
It does.
However, I'm looking at the aperture on this thing, and it goes from 16 to 16. And
Didn't notice that part.
I'm wondering, one, it doesn't say the minimum aperture. It just goes 16, 11, 8, 4, line, 4, 8, 11, 16.
Ah.
And I know I've seen this on film cameras where they do the aperture in both directions. I mean, I'm looking at a picture of a Summicron Leica lens, and it's exactly like that. It goes from 16 down to 1.4 and then back up to 16. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
I don't know if it's like a design thing or so you can see that. Like, how do you, I don't know. So I find that odd.
Yeah.
That they're using
A little odd.
more of like an older manual lens style indicator on what looks like a modern body lens. And then I turn it around and completely off axis from that, which I guess I could just rotate it. There we go. Fixed it. It does have a distance measure for the focal distance, but it doesn't give you any units. It just has
numbers,
feet and meters as numbers.
Feet and meters.
I guess so. And this says it's an 85 millimeter f1.2 L series on the bottom. But the lines only go from 4 to nothing. There's no way that it goes from 1.2 to f4 on this. This is ridiculous. They need
not a fan.
They need to do more research is all I'm saying.
You can get that lens in white as well, that coaster set. And white didn't make sense to me because it's rare to find a white
Ken doesn't make
lens in that
white
size.
primes.
Yeah. So I think the one I got is the closest one that looks like a real lens.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. I feel like they didn't even try. I feel like they kind of tried and they're like, let's just put photo stuff on here.
Just put some photo stuff on there.
Disappointing. Okay, Daniel. You know what this episode is?
Well, I think it's about some kind of new camera, but I'm not sure.
It's the A7R VI Super episode.
Oh, VRI.
Alpha 7R Roman numeral 6,
So the A7R6 is real.
as foretold.
That's the prophecy foretold. Yep, that camera came out recently.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean everybody knew it was coming.
We just knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm. Sony and Canon had events like 30 minutes apart on the same day.
Yep.
And they both released new cameras.
Yep. And Canon released a ZR, and Sony released this.
Yeah. And here we are.
Here we are talking about the Sony one. Weird how that works. Actually, anyways, we'll get into that. I don't even know where to begin, Daniel. This is pre-release, pre-production.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that this is
pre-production. When is this thing coming out?
Like soon?
Okay.
I don't know, just like later. It's in some reviewers' hands, but I think that, like we don't have, raw files to use in Lightroom yet. We don't have those profiles.
Yeah.
It's not like it's shipping to people. There's a dearth of lens charts. There's no information on photons to photos as far as, performance, right?
Yeah.
So there's things left unanswered as far as the performance capabilities of this camera. But we do know quite a bit because they did announce it and release information.
Yeah. Yep.
And the release, it's estimated to ship on June 4th.
Okay. That's not that far away.
So imminently.
Yeah.
Probably even before this episode ships.
Around the same, a few days after.
Yep. See?
Close.
Yeah. And it costs $4,498 American dollars.
That feels about right for this class of camera from Sony.
It's
like the A7R series has always been like over 4,000.
It's a little more expensive, I think, than what the A7R5 launched at, but not obscenely so.
Yeah, maybe the A7R5 was like 4,300, something like that.
Yeah, and then maybe it goes on sale later or something. Yeah. You can find a deal on it or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I can't imagine, unless you really, really needed this camera and you've just been waiting on it, paying full price at this point.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I assume it's going to, get a bunch of pre-orders. It's not a Fuji camera, so it's not going to sell out, but ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha.
I don't know what is Sony's history with that. Like, are their cameras usually pretty available at release? I guess we don't. You and I don't buy Sony, so maybe we don't really know. But
I do think that maybe I should buy Sony. Like maybe I should be a Sony guy. I'm looking here at the Sony a7 IV, and it's just like in stock. You can just buy it.
Just buy it right now.
I mean, ideally, that's what camera companies shoot for.
Yeah,
is
I would think
actually to have their cameras purchasable.
Yeah, at least most of them. I don't know if Fuji shoots for that, but.
I don't know what Fuji's doing half the time. My relationship with Fuji is complicated.
It is.
So complicated.
All right, let's not get too off track though.
Okay, so before we even get into, I have like two questions for you before we even get into the thick of this. One, did Sony out Sony?
Well, what do you mean by that?
So there's like two different Sonys. We see two different ones.
Okay.
We see the Sony that comes strolling in, and they release like a FX2. And we're like, what is this garbage? Why did you repackage an A7 IV 4 years later?
They do occasionally release cameras like that.
More money for it and not add like any real substantial features.
Yeah.
Like, why does this camera exist? Why?
That's true.
They're just trying to hit a price point. Like they still sell. I think they still sell like the A6400.
Yeah.
They're just like, buy this brand new camera. Sony.
It's very very Apple.
Then there's the Sony that comes waltzing in and is like, oh, here's the A9 Mark III global sensor. And you're just like, look at all these specs.
So it's like they either do like home runs or just like weird misses.
And then it's like
nothing in between.
These specs are like all the way to the cutting edge, and when you start listing them, you're like, having to list a bunch of compromises because they're like, we just wanted to give you as much capability as possible.
Yep.
They're not doing
do
like
that.
the Canon thing where it's like either it can do the thing or it can't do the thing, and where there's no like halfway between. And so, that's like peak Sony to me, is whenever they're pushing the envelope, they're dropping specs that no one else has, and they're just like doing the Sony thing.
Yeah.
So, which Sony showed up here, Daniel? Did Sony out Sony?
I think we may have to come back to that question after we go through the camera, because I don't know.
Okay, so that means you're probably not going to be able to answer my follow-up question, which is this peak Sony?
Peak Sony.
Like, is it only downhill from here?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, looking at this camera, it does some interesting stuff, but when I think peak Sony, I think more things like the A9 III, where they come out of nowhere with like a wild spec that nobody's ever seen.
Sure.
I don't know if this quite hits that. This feels more of an evolution to me. It doesn't feel like crazy different.
Okay, so it's not like an Alpha 1 Mark II situation where they're like, I know it's been 4 or 5 years. Here's the camera with the exact same sensor in it for twice the price.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that, but it also doesn't feel like, I don't feel blown away by it. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see as we talk through it. Maybe it's more impressive than I think. But
Daniel, it's real stinking impressive.
It kind of feels in between to me.
It's real stinking impressive.
It feels to me like an A7 IV type situation where it's just like, yeah, this is like the best one of this range yet, but maybe not like I have to run out and buy one. I think that's kind of my impression.
The A7 V is like low key the best hybrid mirrorless camera.
Wow. Can't believe you're saying that.
For some people.
For some people. Okay, there it is.
I think this hits harder as a successor than the A7 V did over the A7 IV.
Well, that's a pretty bold statement. Let's look at the specs.
Okay, so they brought a lot of like the new stuff to it. I think that the A7 V I think already had the tilty flippy screen, if I remember, and so this just brings the newest version of the flippy tilty. But they
tilty.
Yeah, but they brought like the dual USB-C ports. So now you got like the 2 USB whatever ports and all that sort of stuff. Still like CF Express A card slots with like the dual whatever, blah, blah, blah. Do you think they're ever going to switch to CF Express B?
No. So something that is deep within Sony's DNA is using weird memory formats that nobody else uses. It's never going to happen.
CF Express B is faster.
Is it?
Yeah, pretty sure.
I feel like, I mean, isn't A smaller?
It is.
I think they like that. And, they would say all of their customers already have A, why would we want to switch a form factor on them? We wouldn't do that. I think they're going to stay with A.
So I'm looking here at this AI summary, and max write speed for CF Express B compared to A is double.
Wow.
1,700 megabytes per second versus 3,400 megabytes per second.
That's crazy. That's a big difference.
I know that like 1,700 is pretty stinking quick. I don't think they're capping on what A can do.
That's what I was going to say. They're probably like, that's honestly probably what it is they're not at a limit of anything.
But it has to get to a point, I would think.
Yeah, someday you would think
they're not necessarily going to want to try to shove 2 CF Express B cards in there. They just it wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't fit. But I think that everyone else has gone B. B has a higher top end. And from a pure spec standpoint, if they're trying to push the envelope, it feels like it's going to get to a point where they have to make the switch.
Interesting.
This wasn't the year.
This was not the year.
Maybe next generation.
Still on A.
Maybe still on A. Actually, they'll do 3 years. They'll do one more rev, and then 3 years after that, they'll switch to B.
I guess it's fine if you're a Sony bro. I mean, I'm really happy that B is the more popular standard because we've had experiences now where we own CF Express B cards and we've been able to use them in multiple cameras, and that's really rewarding. Like being able to use especially now with memory prices, being able to use the same card. Like I had one from the Fuji, and now I can use it with the Lumix, and same card works on Pixis and all that. And I really like that you can move it between. And with Sony, it's like, well, you just got to buy your own stuff.
So one of the big things with this camera is that you can get legit burst modes out of it. And so you can get these like super high resolution burst mode photos. You can shoot like 30 frames per second electronic shutter, which is something you just could not do with the A7R4. and you can get like 130 images into the buffer
Wow.
before it starts kind of like tapering.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to an extent, that's a limitation of the card because the buffer has to dump to the card and it can only dump so fast. And I mean, some of their other cameras, you can like do more speed. And like, this isn't like a Speedworks sports camera necessarily, but I'm just saying, like they're limiting it, right? I mean, I think, you know, if you're coming from another Sony camera, which you probably are for this, it's nice you don't have to change.
Yeah.
But they're making you change the battery anyway.
Yep. That's what I was alluding to earlier.
So maybe it's time to get some CF Express B in here.
Yeah,
up in here.
Get some CF Express B up in here.
Up in here. Okay. They did change the battery for the first time,
which is
since
pretty big deal.
The first time since which camera? Oh
man, has to have been a long time since before the first A7. Like, has every A7 used?
I don't remember when the A7 came out. But no, that was not the first camera with this battery.
Okay. I don't know.
The A9 Mark I.
Wow. Okay.
10 years.
10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Use this battery for 10 years.
So new battery.
And it's like total, like it's not, because Canon has done this a few times where they have the same form factor that you can charge at the same charger. And like maybe you can even use the old battery in the newer camera with fewer features. You know, but they would say it's like a new battery. But this is like the batteries will not fit. Like
it's
you need
different
new chargers
shape
and everything.
Totally different shape. But like they added stuff like fast charging, and you can see the life of the battery in the camera and blah blah blah. And it doesn't give you any more shots.
It looks like this is an NP SA100 instead of the like FZ50 or something like that.
Yeah. It makes a little more sense for the naming because it's Sony Alpha.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's all. That's all good stuff.
Reasonable.
Right. Good stuff. Let's see.
Oh, but how do you feel about this battery thing?
How do I feel about the battery? It's time.
Yeah.
I don't care. Change batteries. Whatever.
I agree. I mean, I think if they probably changed it for a reason, hitting some limitation or whatever. And, sometimes you got to rip that Band-Aid off.
I think it's like, I don't think we're really probably seeing too many limits on this camera, but they clearly need to move the technology forward.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to probably use this SA battery in the next blah, blah, blah cameras.
It's going to be in everything.
Yeah. And so at some point they have to make that jump.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that the camera company should limit the capabilities of their products because they're afraid of backlash from the battery change.
I mean, Fuji did it. Fuji released that W235 battery with, it may have been with the XH2S. That may have been the first one.
And then they still put the old battery in things after that.
Well, I don't know what
sense.
they're doing, but yeah, I agree. It's like, especially a camera this expensive, most people don't have 10 batteries for their camera. Like, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal to replace your old ones.
Yeah, probably not so much. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
They added a button on the top that makes the back buttons light up.
That's pretty cool.
That's
big fan
cool.
of that.
So
big fan of that.
I like it when they're like glow in the darky, but it's cool that this one you can just like let it be black, like let them be off, and then there's a little light button just in the middle on the top right. You press it, C1, C3, AF on, AEL, function playback, like all those buttons on the back light up. Yeah,
that feels like it's kind of like how Macs were some of the first laptops to have backlit keyboards, and it just makes it feel more premium. I don't know. Like, I know how to type. I don't need to see the keys, but it just feels better.
It's just a nice to have. And it has 3 brightness settings.
Wow, cool.
They just really thought it through.
Yeah, I like that.
It's very good.
Would like to see that on more cameras.
Same. Definitely same. So also similar to A7 IV, this has the 9.44 million dot EVF.
Oh, so like that's like class leading EVF.
Yes. I mean, no one's doing more than that right now. I mean, even if you go out and buy like a freaking R5 Mark II, it's 5.76 million dots. This is top of the line OLED EVF. And they did, in Nikon fashion, note that it's 3 times brighter. They didn't list the nits. Nikon's the only one who's giving a brightness spec on their EVF. And I think it's because Nikon makes the brightest one and no one else is doing it, so they're not going to list it.
Yeah.
So it's like a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, we're not going to list the Luma value of our EVS.
Nikon's
are we?
4,000 nits.
And Nikon comes rolling out here and they're like, Here's our number.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
Huh?
I mean, if I had the biggest number, I'd say it too.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, it seems like a good place to spend money. You know, like if you're gonna make your camera feel more premium, good way to do it.
It does support 10-bit color now, which is good, and it's a HLG.
Oh,
So a little bit of
nice.
you get a little bit of
That's good.
HDR-ishness
Yeah.
on that EVF. So
Cool.
I think it's good. Like it helps, especially in high dynamic range scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to kind of like really figure out that contrast.
Yeah.
And so I like it when,
helps.
especially for photo cameras, whenever they put like a really, really good EVF in there,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, like you can only tell so much from the back screen, but sometimes being able to look through like a super solid EVF and know you got the shot when you're there, it's just important. So
For sure.
I like seeing that here. I think that's most of the stuff that's new on the body. One of the USB-C ports has a screw.
Oh, that's cool.
That's something I want to see. I mean, like we've noticed that on the Pixis where all the USB-C ports have the little screw.
Mm-hmm.
I need that on every camera. Every camera that has USB-C.
It doesn't seem like it takes up that much more space, and it's just, you don't have to use it, but having it's really nice.
And I think it's only one of them, but it's still good.
Yeah.
And then they added this. Everyone keeps talking about this, and this is kind of why I brought up the location. That had a raised index for where the dot is for aligning your
like
bayonet
so you can
mount.
feel it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
So I mean that's good, right? It makes it faster if like you put your finger on the dot, then you just have to like feel it and lock it in.
Sure.
I don't quite know like how that would necessarily work if you're like the buttons on the right. Did I get the button location on Sony wrong? a7R 5, the button is at 7 o'clock.
Oh.
Interesting. Is it different
Did they
per
move
Sony camera? Hold on, wait. This is very important. A7 V search. Nope, that's an A5, which is a car. A7 V search. Nope, it's still the same. All right. Well, never mind.
So Sony's at 7 o'clock.
Sony's at 7 o'clock, which
Okay.
is the correct position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at more Sony cameras just to confirm.
I seriously doubt they would move that button location.
I swear it was in a different
It feels
location
like
on
it's
another
part
camera.
of the.
So Sony's just like
mount.
Nikon as far as... No, Nikon's on the other side. Okay, I did get it mixed up earlier. That's fine. Sony's is in the correct spot.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Anyway, and so now they get the little index there. So you're holding your camera in your right hand, you press the button, you fill the freaking thing with your left hand.
Yeah,
and, like,
I see the appeal.
line the bad
That
boy
seems
up.
good.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. I think that's most of the body stuff. So like good, iterative improvements, right?
Yeah.
They made the grip a little more comfortable, blah blah blah
nothing,
blah blah. Sony.
Nothing like wild here, but it probably a good step up.
When it's been this long, you made this many cameras. There's only so much you can innovate on the form factor.
Yeah.
Other than adding like 45 more buttons, which would be great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and I've always kind of had this frustration with Sony cameras that they prioritize the camera being small so much that it affects the ergonomics, and it feels like such a different trade off than what Canon makes. Where Canon's cameras are like weird and round and bulky, but they just feel like you hold it and it feels like you're putting a glove on. Like it feels so good.
Yep.
And the philosophy is so different between the two, and I prefer the Canon way. So like that's the main problem I have with Sony bodies, but that's not going to change. Like that's just how they make their cameras.
Yeah. One of the things I would have liked to see out of this body is that they didn't include any front buttons.
Oh, interesting.
I'm a huge fan of the index finger buttons on the front of the body.
It feels like a whole like a bonus button that you can reach without getting confused with other buttons. And I'm a big fan of those too.
I think that my expectation is the reason they don't do that is probably lens size and finger width.
Okay.
Is they, like you said, they make these bodies as small as they can.
Yeah.
You go put a freaking 28 to 70 f2.
True.
Probably not be able to fit your fingers all the way in next to the lens.
That's true.
Just make it a little bigger.
Make it a little bigger.
Make it a little bigger. Give me more buttons.
More buttons.
There could stand to be more buttons. I think they only have C1 through C3. So one thing that we didn't talk about is that they added this star menu to the PSAM dial, and I can't get anyone to explain it to me. Can you please explain it to me?
I have no idea. I saw what we have in the notes, but what is something about custom modes?
Supposedly there's 10 custom modes per mode. So in photo you get 10, in video you get 10, and S&Q you get 10.
But is it like how it works on the XH2S where you have like a C3 or I think maybe it's C3 on the Fuji. Like you go to the C3 option on the dial, and then you can do like a 3-1, a 3-2, and a 3-3. But those are like software modes within the hardware thing. Because like to me, that's not the same.
That's my expectation, and honestly, like less prepared to talk about this part of it. But I think that what you do is you set it to the star, which replaces the original 3. So now instead of 1, 2, 3, it's 1, 2 star.
Okay.
And then I think you can like basically scroll through and like, you know, pick a preset to put in the slot, and then you can turn a mode dial to like, you know, swap through those presets.
Better than nothing, but I don't know. I mean, that is not the same as having a dial with, say, 7 custom modes on it, where you can click through like C1 through C7. You know, it's not the same as that.
No, not quite the same. I think the one that Fuji did was like you could set C1 to, you could set it so that the record button recalled C1.
You can do that, but they also have like their C3 has like 3 software custom modes within it. And you can switch them easier, and you can change all the settings, but it's not as fast as just moving the dial to that mode. So
yeah,
so cool, I guess. I mean, not complaining about it.
It's like a good interim solution as far as like keeping things steady, not making that dial huge. I don't know.
Imagine if the dial had like 47 clicks on it. You know, be wild, out of control.
Maybe that's hard to turn through. My favorite iteration of the PSM dial is the XH2S and the XH2. Like maybe I'm just biased. I really like having C1 through C7 and just being able to set those to photo or video and just like scroll through.
Yep.
It is a little tedious to have to remember which one's which one, but I mean, like I usually kind of leave them kind of all the same and set through, and it's just nice to have.
I do feel like I like how, because newer cameras, you know, like the Lumix, for example, has a separate switch, you know, for photo versus video. And I do like that you can have, say you have 3 custom modes. You can have 3 for photo and 3 for video. And I never have to think about, wait, is C2 a photo or a video mode? Because it's whatever I have the switch set to. So I think I prefer that a little bit, but I love how many custom modes the XH2 and 2S have.
I respect the thought pattern for that, and I understand it, and I could get behind it. I think for me, it's a matter of, do I have to set it to photo or video, and then I have to set it to C1 through C3?
Yeah.
Versus just setting it to C7.
Yeah.
And so it's like
if you can remember, you know, what all your modes are, like if you keep them the same every time to where it just gets in your memory, then I think that works just fine.
For sure. Kind of depends on how you use the camera. Point is, the way that Sony does it is the most wrong.
The most wrong.
And it just gets better from there. Anyway, we talked about the new battery. We did not talk about how they cost $120.
That's pretty high.
It's like $30 more than the last battery.
All those OEM batteries are expensive, but that's a pretty big jump.
Always worth it.
It is.
I think I paid like $60 or $70 for the last OEM battery that I bought.
I recently looked up the price of Canon OEM batteries, and the Canon ones are about $80 each.
$80. Well, the Sony ones are $120.
It's a lot of money.
Classic Sony.
Yep. At least you'll probably be able to use them on Sony cameras for a long time.
One would hope. It's about a 15% increase in capacity.
That's cool.
Doesn't get any more like SEPA shots, but it's a little,
yeah.
Okay, Daniel, we've gone on long enough. We got to talk about the star of the show here, and that is this sensor on this thing.
Yeah, because that's been the big question. I know, because the past one was what, a 60? No, was it a? They had been at 60. The A7R
yeah, they've been above
60.
60.
And I know people were wondering, like, would they go to 100? Would they be taking on the GFX?
There's been a lot of consternation about where we're going as far as megapixels. And the A7R5 was 61 megapixels.
Okay.
This one is just ever so slightly more at 66.8.
I mean, it's a notable increase.
I was kind of hoping they'd hit 80. I don't know why. It just seemed like a good jump. But 66.8, I mean, we're sitting around, I don't know, like 3.2, 3.6 microns for pixel size. So, like, decent.
Yeah. I mean, there is a downside to cramming more and more megapixels to the same physical size sensor.
Yeah.
So
For sure. Unless you're doing like a different, just like a totally different pixel pattern.
Yeah.
Where you can do some clever binning and whatever. But I mean, this is the highest megapixel production sensor for like a modern mirrorless consumer body He's like put all the caveats in there because Canon makes like 100 megapixel sensors, like a 400 megapixel sensor or whatever.
Yeah, but in terms of what you would see in a pro camera for taking photos, this is it.
For an interchangeable lens photography camera,
Yeah.
this is it, right? Unless you go to medium format, you're getting like a X2D2 with that super sweet 100-something megapixel guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is it, right?
This is it.
And it's just like super good. And they went full stack. None of this partially stacked garbage.
That is impressive that they did that.
I mean, the price reflects it.
Yeah, it does.
Now, it doesn't have the same RAM chip on the back of it because Sony has other fully stacked sensor cameras, particularly the A1 and the A1 Mark II.
Right.
Now, the A1 Mark II is like 50 megapixels, I think, and it reads substantially faster than this, like 4 times faster.
Interesting.
So even though this is stacked and it is a massive improvement over the a7R5, it is not a replacement for the A1 II.
Okay.
The read speed on this is like 17 milliseconds. The A1 II is like 4.
Wow. It's a big difference.
It's a huge difference.
But the 17 is probably quite a bit faster than the like A7R5.
Oh, the A7R5 was like 90 or something stupid.
Yeah.
It was unusable in electronic shutter mode
Yeah.
unless you had a still subject.
Uh-huh.
If you're trying, you just couldn't shoot fast action in the A7R5. I think that the electronic shutter burst modes were slower than the mechanical shutter.
Wow. Okay.
The mechanical shutter on this is about the same. It's like 10 frames per second mechanical,
Cool.
but you can go up to 30 in electronic, and that's actually usable.
Yeah.
If you're
That's
shooting
a big improvement.
it is a big improvement. If you're shooting fast motion, you can still get some like bowing or bending or
Like you could get a rolling shutter artifact.
yeah, like if a ball's moving real quick through the frame, it will elongate.
Yeah.
It's just going to. It's not an A1 II. It's not an A9 III.
And the price reflects that.
And the price reflects that. But it is, you can actually use it. You can actually go do 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
Like 14-bit uncompressed RAW and in 66.8 megapixels.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nuts.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they're able to get that speed still at a very at a class leading megapixel count, like it is an impressive sensor.
It really, really is. And I think the stat here is that it's over 5 times faster than the A7R5.
Wow.
So
That's if you're an A7R5 shooter, that alone feels like maybe worth upgrading.
if you need it. If
Yeah,
you need it.
That's true.
I would
Not
say
everybody
that
needs it.
I mean, if you're into sports,
Well, if you're into sports, I don't know if shooting on an A7R platform is the right choice.
you probably aren't shooting on an A7R5. You're probably shooting on, maybe you're shooting on an A7 V
yeah.
or maybe an A9 III or a Canon R1 or, oh, sorry, I started switching brands. Anyway, it's just, it now makes it so that if you really needed that high resolution in a fast action mode, it kind of like unlocks this camera line for some of those wildlife type shooters.
If I think about like if I'm using a camera, I'm not a sports photographer, but I love having the capability to shoot faster if I need it. Like it would make me happier to have this because if I'm going to shoot an event where there's going to be fast action or something, it's nice to know that you can. So maybe that's where the benefit comes from. Even this camera is still not really the right choice for doing sports like regularly, but it like opens that up for you a little bit.
It does for sure. And then they put the new processor in here, the one that was in the A7 V.
Oh, cool.
And so it has previously they were
expected.
doing like that separate AI, whatever code chip. And now it's all like wrapped into the whatever thing. And so you're getting all this super slick AI autofocusing feature things and blah, 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 blah.
I know we don't have a lot of information yet on the performance of the sensor, but do we know, like, is it dual native ISO? Do we know anything about that kind of stuff?
I think that people are assuming that it's dual native ISO. I think that'd be pretty standard for this.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've been publishing that information, but there is like, if you go look through the stops, it gets cleaner at some certain crossover.
The noise is going to be interesting to see because even on the on the S1 and the S1R, the S1 II and the S1R2, one being 26 megapixels and the other being 45, 44 or something like that. I notice a lot more noise on the S1R2 in low light because the pixels are smaller, like you're not getting as much light. And that's kind of the concern I have with this sensor is that you're really like the pixel pitch is so small. You're really cramming it in there. And I'm curious how the noise on this would compare to something like the S1R Mark II.
It'll be interesting to see. One of the things that we noted with the difference whenever we're talking about the difference between the R6 Mark III and the A7 V, and we did that deep dive on like, how is the Canon camera so fast, and like what are they doing, and what is Sony doing in their image processing pipeline where they do their noise reduction versus their analog to digital conversion, and how that whole pipeline works. And if you go look at the R6 Mark III and the A7 V on Photons of Photos, you'll see that before, if you go on real low ISOs, like before that native ISO jump, like under 640, the Sony just has more dynamic range. It has like a stop more dynamic range at its bottom ISO compared to the Canon. And so I would expect that Sony is probably doing some similar, it's the same processor, right? So I would expect they're doing some very similar approaches. And then in addition to that, they're including this dynamic range optimizer mode, where if you're shooting in uncompressed RAW, you can turn on quote unquote DRO or whatever.
DRO.
And what it does is it basically cleans up the shadows. So like if you think about like in video on one of the Lumix cameras, they have dynamic range boost. I don't remember if that works in photo or not. And whenever you use dynamic range boost on a Lumix camera, it extends the highlights. It kind of like gives you a little more headroom. It's unclear if that's how this works on the Sony one, but from what I've seen, it's like if you put on DRO, camera range optimizer, and then you expose for your highlights, you're able to recover more out of the shadow. Okay. So the image may still look the same. It's not like you're all of a sudden getting more dynamic range in the image from just like we didn't do any editing. We just took the raw and converted it.
Okay.
But if you raise the shadows in order to compress the image so that you can actually see the dynamic range in like a flatter image, the shadows are much cleaner.
Interesting.
Using this mode. So they're doing something with this dynamic range optimizer to further clean up the shadows and the noise of the, like reduce the noise floor.
Interesting.
Compared to what they were doing in the A7 V. And so this is already getting like maybe half a stop or a stop more dynamic range than its predecessor. But then you can turn on this DRO mode and kind of push it even further.
Okay.
So it seems like it's pretty competitive, even though we're dealing with really small pixels and very high resolution. They're doing a lot here in order to make the most out of the capability of the sensor.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. We'll see what the test results look like whenever those come out. But I mean, it sounds like they've thought it through. So good.
Yep. It's all real good.
It's just all real good. If you'd like to support the Camera Gear podcast, you can subscribe to us on Patreon. It's only $3 a month, and you'll get early access to episodes, longer pre-shows, and occasional bonus content like written reviews of gear or maybe some photos we've taken on one of our recent adventures. This really does help us pay the bills and keeps this show running, and we'd love to have your support. You can find out more at patreon.com/cameragearpodcast, or there's also a link in the description for this episode. Thanks for listening, and now back to the show. So what about video?
What about it?
Well,
this is a photo camera.
Can you shoot video on it though?
Yes. It's not a Hasselblad.
I mean, you gotta ask.
I think that would have been bold. I think that's what Sony should have done. They should have taken the video features out of the camera. Do you think people would have been mad?
Yes. I mean, it's I feel like the a7R series has never been great at video, but it's always been acceptable at video at least. And I think that people kind of expect that. And I know for me, I'm kind of in this boat where I have a camera that is more made for video, and then I have a camera that's more made for photo. But I sure like that I can use the photo one for video because it gives me a B cam that's gonna, at least somewhat match my video camera. So I think if nothing else, like it's good for that.
Well, yeah. I guess that's true. I mean, look, this thing, in order to shoot like really high resolution modes, you got a high resolution sensor.
That's true.
And so, I mean, like you got your whatever A7 Vs out here, you can't shoot 8K.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 8K is the hot new thing right now.
It is.
You got to be able to shoot 8K. So what are you going to do, right? 8K. I mean, previously, if you wanted to shoot 8K, you had to spend $6,000 on an A1 II, or you had to just compromise on an A7R5.
Mm-hmm. Or buy a Fuji X-H2.
Or you just buy a Fuji X-H2. Come on. 422 10-bit open gate. So, of course, you can shoot 8K.
Yeah. Which, good, expected.
It doesn't go to 8K 60 like the R6 Mark II. R5 Mark II, sorry.
Okay.
R5 Mark II from Canon.
So you're limited to 30.
Which came out 2 years ago. So I'm just going to go ahead and point that out. Limited to 30, but it's totally usable.
In terms of like rolling shutter.
Yeah, previously the a7R4 was like 38 milliseconds of rolling shutter.
A7R5, I think.
A7R5, thank you. This one's 17.
That's a big, it's literally twice as fast.
Literally twice as fast. In 8K, it does go pixel for pixel.
Okay, so you're cropping in because the sensor is more than 8K.
It's more than 8K.
Yeah.
So you are cropping in. But like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like pixel for pixel 8K.
Yeah.
You can shoot 8K 30. You can turn on the dynamic range boost. It's great.
Okay.
They're still doing that thing where you can't shoot in H.265 and 25p.
Oh, weird.
That's just like a Sony thing.
Classic.
Yeah. Anyway.
What about 24p?
Yeah.
You can in 24?
Yeah.
But not in 25.
Right.
I guess they're not pals with the PAL people.
I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
4K, 8 millisecond readout.
That's pretty good.
Which means they're line skipping.
Uh-huh.
And it's noticeably less sharp than the 8K. And not just because it's 8K, but because they're skipping lines.
That's annoying because, I mean, that means you just wouldn't want to use it.
I mean, like, what else are you going to do, right? I mean,
I know they have to, you got to get it somehow, but I'd be shooting 8K. Most I needed 60.
Yeah. You just shoot, say, but like, what if you want full width? What if you want to get all of those lenses?
Just use full width. Yeah. What if you're vlogging?
What if you're
Probably shouldn't be vlogging with this camera.
Why not? What if you got a vlog in 8K? You got to get a wider lens.
Yeah.
You get that 10 mil.
Well, even in 8K though, you're getting a crop. So
true.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's the best hybrid camera. Like that. I mean, but I don't think it's made to be. Like, I think it's made to be a 70-30, photo video type thing. I don't think it's made to be 50-50.
This is not a 50-50 camera. Yeah. If you want a true hybrid, it's the A7V, right? You get 30 megapixels. It's like half megapixels, but fine. And yeah, like get good video. You're not gonna get 8K, but I'd like need a game.
Yeah.
So like decent. This like do the job. If you need one camera, do the job, but you're really more for photo and you really need Sony, like it's here.
Yeah.
It can do 4K 60 full frame, finally. It can do 4K 120 with the like pixel for pixel or like bend down from downscale from the 8K or something, but it'll do 4K 120.
Okay.
So like it checks all the boxes as far as video modes that you might want to see out of your camera. They're all like asterisk or whatever, but like the footage is going to look good.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to shoot an S-Log3. Like, it's going to look great for most things. I would say if you're going to go like shoot a movie, don't use this camera.
Yeah, probably not.
But if you need to like also shoot for YouTube or like, I don't know, recap videos or something. I would think if I was doing like production things like weddings and things like that, and I was shooting on Sony, I would still favor getting an FX3 or an A7V.
You mean if you're shooting wedding video?
Yeah, like if I'm shooting video, like
sure.
But like if you're like shooting a wedding and you just need to grab a few shots and like you're gonna just put like a real quick 30-second, 1 minute thing together, that's probably fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're like dedicated to doing video stuff, this isn't the camera.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Anyway, it's all good, right? Like autofocus is better. They got the dynamic. They did a bunch of actually like stabilization stuff here.
Really?
That I think
that surprises me. I feel like Sony's never been as competitive on IBIS. Like they're fine, but it's never seemed as good as some of the other brands.
It seems like they're a bit limited by the mount. I mean, if you go look at,
they can't move the sensor around much inside that mount.
Right. Yeah. If you go compare to Lumix, the mount is gargantuan compared to the sensor. Where the E mount was a APS-C mount, and they crammed a full frame sensor into it, and so they're a bit limited by the size of the mount. It gives you smaller, lighter lenses, which is great, but at the same time, like they just can't have as good of IBIS simply because of physics. So they did add like this dynamic active stabilization thing in order to improve the digital stabilization of the system, and I just hate the way digital stabilization looks.
It always looks fake.
It's like
you can tell.
Anytime there's like a jar, like a
mason jar.
Yes, like a mason jar. Anytime there's a jarring bump, you see this like digital artifacting of like shifting and motion, and it's just
No bueno.
I can't unsee it. Like,
Mhm.
everyone who's like all the sample footage that I've seen with this dynamic optical stabilization on, the reviewers are like, it's real good. And I'm looking at the footage and I'm like,
It's real not good.
I can just see it.
Mm-hmm.
And no.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. You know, they brought the things and it's good. They also added 32-bit float audio,
That's good.
but you have to have the attachment like
Like
everything
an
else.
XLR mount type thing.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know why none of these brands will just put that in the camera. You know, how expensive is it? How bulky is it? Why are they not just adding that in?
Do you think it's like has something to do with the just like how the way that they like I don't know.
The way that it is.
You know, the way that it is.
I have no idea. It feels to me like it's got to be like a processing power thing or a bulk thing or a heat thing or something, because they all do it this way. And I just think, you know, this is a $4,500 camera. I can go out and buy an Insta360 Mic Pro transmitter for $100.
It's real small.
And it's this tiny little thing. The battery lasts a long time, and that has 32-bit float. So I'm like, what's the deal? Like, why can't they take that and put that in the $4,500 camera? There's got to be a reason. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure either. And comparing it to the Insta360 Pro is kind of interesting because that transmitter is so small.
Mm-hmm.
And it even does the thing where like you can plug it into USB and plug it into your computer and use this on audio interface or whatever. You have to use their mics. And like maybe part of that is like you can't plug in like real microphones into it. But this little top thing that you have to stick on the a7R6, which is I believe is new with this camera. Like you can stick your microphones onto it, but it's like big and bulky. And it's like maybe I want 32-bit float because I'm going to do like vlogging or something, but I don't want to have this whole stinking system.
Yeah. It's just weird that it's seen as this ultra pro feature when really I think that it's arguably more valuable for people who aren't pros.
Yeah.
You know? If you're on a film set doing audio, you know, you have your sound guy, you have time to get your levels right, and like you're watching your levels, you can set it all perfectly. It feels like that's like less where you need it and more where you need it is like I'm running around in a field and like I don't know if a loud car is gonna, you know, drive by or if I'm gonna start shouting or whatever. Like, you know, that's like way less of a controlled environment. Like that's when I want 32-bit float. So it's just weird to me that they don't include it in these cameras. I don't know.
Or at least without an accessory.
Yeah.
So they did improve the internal microphones. They added some like additional heat dissipation.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily know all the details. I don't really want to get into it.
Maybe they needed to for like the sensor and stuff.
Yeah. And then obviously they have like the LUT import thing.
Cool.
That's Cinetone, blah, 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 blah. It's like it's all good.
Yeah.
No open gate, but whatever. Sony don't do that open gate.
No, that's not really their thing.
All right. So that's video. Photo. It's a pretty good photo camera, Daniel.
As you would expect. If the video is like the 30 and the 70-30, you would hope that the photo stuff is really bringing it to the table.
We've covered a lot of it. Well, the a7R5 is a great photo camera. The a7R6 is also a great photo camera. It's like if you need the highest resolution, they make fantastic sharp lenses that are going to be able to take advantage of that resolution. It's like Sony's doing it. I mean, I think that Nikon and Canon are competing well enough.
Yeah, I think so too.
But this is like top of the spec sheet, right? Stack sensor, all those megapixels, like it's good. And they improved it where they needed to the most, which was in its read speed. And so now you can, like we talked about it before, but like you can do the burst stuff. You're still getting 10 frames per second with mechanical shutter, but you can get, you know, that blackout free 30 frames per second, uncompressed, blah, 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 blah. The file sizes are huge.
Yeah, as you would expect with that many megapixels.
The lossless compressed raw images are 90 megabytes each.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And the JPEGs are 50 megabytes each.
It's a lot.
And if you're buying this camera, like you got to shoot in the fullest res.
Yeah, why would you not?
Why would you not? Those files are going to be huge.
Yeah.
Huge, huge, huge.
Yep. It's like shooting raw on a cinema camera. You just got to budget for more storage.
You just got to do it.
Shame that that's like a fortune right now.
Yes. Yes, it is. Probably a good thing they didn't change the memory cards then, I guess.
True.
So they added some features like, not added, but they've included their features like their HDR, noise reduction, and they'll do like the 260 something megapixel like pixel shift image.
Okay.
all of which required you to plug it into a computer
I
and
was
like
about
use the
to
software.
ask. I was about to ask if they could do the pixel shift in camera or not.
Panasonic's the only one doing pixel shift in camera, and I don't understand it.
It's a pretty big differentiator. I feel like I'm way more likely to use that feature if I can do it in camera.
I will never use that feature on my camera.
Yeah.
Because I have to use the software.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
So I mean, like it's all good. I mean, there's not really too much like to dive into. It's like you can get like 130 images out of the buffer. It includes like the speed boost thing. It does the pre-capture now,
Mm-hmm.
so you can like take the picture before you take the picture, like all that stuff. It does like all the things. I think it's maybe a 0.3 to 1 second of pre-capture as like
cool.
an adjustable setting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it feels like there's nothing here that you would be missing in photo mode. There's nothing where you're going to be like, oh, I really wish it did that.
Yeah, I think that the electronic shutter speed is maybe like the one thing
Okay.
that, and I don't know if this is more of a gotta save it for the other cameras kind of situation, but it's probably just simply a limitation of they had to save costs somehow, so like less RAM on the back of the chip, so like less speed on the sensor, and also it's 66 megapixels. You can only go so fast. And so in electronic shutter, you can only go to 1/8000 maximum shutter speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like,
How does that compare though to other things?
that's good. I mean, I think my Fuji does 1/8000. That's the limit we're familiar with from most cameras from the last like 6 years or
Okay.
something.
Okay.
They've recently been going up. So like the A7 V can do 1/16,000.
Okay.
It's like one better. It's like one better.
Yeah, it is one better.
The A1 II can do 1/32,000.
That's two better.
It's two better. The A9 III can do even more than that.
Yeah.
So it's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So if you need like, this is not class leading in that, but it's like fine.
it's fine. But it's kind of thing. Like if you're in broad daylight
Mm-hmm.
and you want to shoot freaking 1.2 or something, like shooting portraits and like the just the brightest scene, you probably can't get the shutter to go fast enough.
Interesting.
You're probably gonna have to put ND on there.
Yeah.
So it is limiting in certain
Yeah.
portraiture situations in ways that the A1 II is not. But if you
Okay.
need those 66 megapixels,
Yeah. Not gonna be using the A1 II for that.
well, you can like work around it, right? Maybe you don't want to put an ND on the front of your
Yeah.
lens whenever you're shooting like that dreamy with that much gear, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just good, Daniel.
It's just good.
They made the autofocus better. It has
Yeah, I know
like
you said that for video, but I guess just in general, the autofocus is better.
yeah, like it does the tiny box thing.
What do you mean by that? What's the tiny box thing?
Well, like with this processor on the A7 V, it was like a big deal with like how far away you could do eye detection. And so it's like, well, like, oh, I can get the eye of that guy that's like
I see.
way over there.
Okay.
So it's like tiny box. And then like you can make the boxes even smaller if you need to. So you can like more finely attune the where you want to focus.
Cool.
And does like all the stuff like deep learning and blah 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 blah.
I mean, it's always been like probably like one of Sony's biggest strengths is autofocus. So it seems like they aren't resting on their laurels.
They're not. They improved it. It is better,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like the best just got better kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yep.
They also with like all the whatever the AI stuff, they're doing like more accurate quote unquote auto exposure and more accurate white balance using like their AI algorithms.
Cool.
And so far from the reviews, it seems legit.
Like it actually is better.
Like the way that it's doing white balance and color balance from scene to scene in its automatic modes is a substantial improvement over the A7R V.
Well, that's a welcome improvement. That's something I'd like to see come to other cameras.
Sometimes when you go to take a picture, especially if the lights are just bad, it's like you can't really get it right.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
there's I edit a lot of photos that other people take, and they're shooting in auto white balance, and I'll edit photo sets where I have to adjust the white balance on every photo. I'd say that's like one of the most common things I have to do when I edit photos, and cameras just aren't always good at getting that right.
It's a hard thing to get right. It's just tough.
Well, and cameras don't typically include like a light meter. They're just using what they get off the sensor, so
Yep.
it's probably like not the best tool for the job. And then so I'm glad they're improving this.
Yeah, I do think it's like that's one of the nice things to see as far as like a machine learning or whatever type feature coming into these cameras
Yeah,
to really improve, take that sensor data and improve the auto exposure and auto white balance settings and like
sure.
get that right.
for sure.
And sometimes you just can't get the photometry right. You're like switching between like multimeter and wide and whatever, and you're like, forget it. I'm just going to manually
That's why they have the different settings. But yeah, even with that, you can't always get it right.
Yeah. It's like one of those things you just kind of learn to deal with as like a photographer, and like you just kind of have to know your gear and how to get the shot. But it's like autofocus, right? I mean, it used to be like 3 freaking points on the thing. You just really had to work it to make it work for you, and it's like it makes it faster, but it's also finicky.
Yep.
And I feel like we've seen this huge improvement on autofocus, but the stuff with white balance and with auto exposure has maybe not taken the same speed forward. It seems like it's kind of paused for the last few
honestly,
years.
I never even thought about that as like a thing that could be improved, but it makes perfect sense.
Well, because who would use auto exposure? Well, you're just shooting manual.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously.
That's what I do.
Obviously.
But like the auto white balance thing is a good example of something I've never really evaluated about a camera. Like how well does it auto white balance? But it's been good to see improvements.
It's cool. It'd be cool if you could set it to like always exposed to the right, but maybe you just want to blow out your highlights. I don't know.
Yeah, you can do that on certain cameras, such as Lumix.
Just tell it to always exposed to the right.
You can set an offset for things like auto exposure.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, isn't that just the same as turning the EV dial?
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, you can do that on any camera. So there you go.
Sure, there you go. Just turn the EV dial. Set it to star.
Yep, set it to star.
For those star photos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the stuff. So, considering the a7R5, it's like a 5 megapixel jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's like way stinking faster.
I mean, that feels like a huge difference.
It like makes it so that it can be a legit hybrid camera.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, it was like you could mostly kind of use it, but now it can legit be a hybrid camera, and it's just faster.
I mean, those would be the reasons I would if I had an a7R5, I'd be considering upgrading if I wanted to do stuff like sports type things, like I wanted that type of speed improvement, or if I felt like video was something that I wanted to do on occasion. Like those would be the two things I think that really stand out to me.
I think one of the interesting things about this camera is what it means for Sony's lineup.
Okay.
I don't know if Sony still sells the a7 IV new. I'm just going to assume that they do because Sony
probably do.
They probably. I mean, I assume
it's the Tim Cook strategy.
Don't they sell the a7 III brand new still?
I think they do. Yes.
So I'm sure that they still sell the a7 IV. I haven't looked it up to confirm. I've only looked at used prices.
Mm-hmm.
The a7 IV and the a7 V share the same sensor. You're getting a huge improvement in autofocus, white balance, exposure, all of these things in the newer cameras. I mean, this is 6 years newer-ish than an a7 IV.
Yeah.
But the a7 IV and the a7 V have the same sensor, and it's still, even though this new one came out, it's controversy opinion, still really good. Still a really good 61 megapixel sensor.
Wait, which camera are we talking about?
A7 IV.
A7R4?
A7R4. Sorry, okay. A7R4.
That's what you've been meaning this whole time.
Okay. Every time. I'm only talking about R's, Daniel.
Okay. Only
A7R4.
Yeah.
A7 IV was terrible. No one likes that camera. A7R4. You can get used for $1,900.
Which is a lot less, for those keeping track at home, that's a lot less than the $4,500 that this camera costs.
If you only need really high megapixels, and you're only going to use mechanical shutter, and you only need autofocus that's as competitive, it's probably better than a modern Fuji camera, but maybe not as good as a modern Sony camera. I mean, I think with this release, the a7R4 use becomes very appealing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about, say, you wanted to get a photo-only camera. You were okay with, something that's E-mount for whatever reason. You have something else to shoot video. If you want to shoot video, why not? It seems like it does the basic things you would need. The autofocus is better than what you have now. Seems like a good camera.
It does seem like a good camera. You can buy an a7R4A new for $2,800.
The A is probably the astrophotography version.
I thought it was because they couldn't re-release under the same name, but you're probably right. I'm looking to see if there's a new not a7R4A, and I can't seem to find one. So
that $1,900 was a used price?
Used. Yeah, it was used price. Used a7 V, $2,900.
You mean A7R5?
A7R5.
$2,900.
I keep doing that.
Yeah, you do. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. So like, yeah, as always, the new camera comes out, older stuff kind of gets cheaper.
Right.
I think it's just particularly interesting for this line of cameras because of the high resolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still, if you want more than 40 something megapixels, Sony is the only game in town in full frame.
Yeah.
Either you have to go all the way to GFX or you got to shoot Sony.
Like a Q3.
Or you have to shoot a Leica. We actually we haven't even talked about that rumor. Did we talk about that rumor?
I don't know what that rumor
We'll talk
is.
about that. Leica's making a sensor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does sound familiar.
Yeah.
We should cover that in a different episode.
Moving away from Sony.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what do you think? I mean, like, this is it's like this or Canon R5 II?
I mean, for this type of camera, you know, high resolution photo type thing. I mean, it seems really good. I think the R5 II is probably better in video than this is.
It is.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people out there that are like 100% or almost 100% photo. And I think that's where this is more appealing. I think if you think video is a big part of what you do, you probably don't want the camera. But if you do a lot of photo, I think it's a pretty good option.
We go through cycles with cameras, right? Like every camera company gets their opportunity to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
It's like the newest, hottest thing. And the A7R II, sorry, I keep mixing up my camera stuff. The Canon R5 Mark II.
Yeah, which came out about 2 years ago.
Came out about sometime in 2024, mid to late 2024. Like, reads faster than this lower megapixel sensor, but it is stacked. So like it reads faster than this, so it has better video capabilities. It's a better hybrid camera. It can do like 8K 60. This thing does the 30 megapixel, whatever, 30 frame per second burst and all that sort of stuff. But it's like $700 cheaper. It's been out for a little longer and all this sort of stuff. So, but like it doesn't quite have the same resolution, right? So the Canon has their hot thing that's like fairly comparable to this. But whenever the R5 Mark II came out, we were like comparing it to similarly the Z8, which was on sale and cheaper, and the R5 Mark II coming out in the $4,000 something range.
That's right.
The Z8 was $3,600 or $3,800. And we're like, man, the Z8 seems even more appealing now because it's 40 something megapixels and blah blah blah. The Z8 still exists out there, and you can probably get it for low 3,000s now. I would expect used.
I would think so.
And that's still a fairly competitive camera, but the Z8 and the Z9 are Nikon's competitor to this. They haven't come out with the Z7 Mark III. The Z7 Mark II is ancient at this point. And so, funny enough, like Nikon, until they come out with the Z9 Mark II, doesn't really have a competitor to this camera that is modern.
Yeah.
It's basically the Z8, and the Z8 is 3 or 4 years old at this point.
Yeah.
And the Z9 is a competitor to the A1 II, not this camera.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Nikon does this year, because we are expecting the Z9 Mark II this year.
And,
but right now,
it's like, will Nikon leapfrog and be, you know?
Yeah, it's like what will they do to compete with this camera? Because, I mean, this is king of the megapixels in full frame.
Yeah.
And really the only Sony competitor to this is probably the Canon camera, the R6 Mark II or R5 Mark II, which is really good. But I would wager to say that the biggest competitor to this camera is actually the a7R5.
Interesting. Just because I guess it's like a similar set of trade-offs to anything else, and the a7R5 was already very competitive with these other cameras, and the a7R6 kind of is like hitting the same sort of deal.
Yeah, if you don't need the speed, like shooting in mechanical shutter on an a7R5, it's 10 frames per second, which is respectable, and that eliminates the rolling shutter.
Right.
So if you need it for photo, the a7R5 is still really, really good, and you can get it new for like $3,300 or used for $2,900.
Yeah, majorly cheaper than this.
Like if you're trying to get into something high resolution, like you're in an a7 III and you're looking to upgrade, man, I would look strongly at an a7R5 instead of an a7R6, unless you just think you can cough out an additional $2,000.
Yeah. If you're like, well, I really want to be able to do some video, and I want a camera that will last longer, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like all good reasons, right? The a7R6 is going to sit at that price point for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's classic Sony. It doesn't. It's not going to get wildly cheaper.
No,
but
I wouldn't think so.
I do think that in this particular case, the way that Sony pushes those lines down and never stops selling anything
Kinda hurt them a little bit.
maybe, but I think it's good for the consumer.
Yeah.
Only in this case. In every other case, no. But in this case, yes.
I mean, it also kind of feels to me like they're sort of like you kind of asked, like, is this peak Sony at the beginning of the episode? And like it does kind of feel like they're having a harder and harder time like squeezing more meaningful new features out.
Sure.
You know, in the sense that, yes, this is better than the A7R5. It's probably the best high resolution photo camera that Sony makes. But it's just not that much better than the A7R5. And when you consider, you know, you can't buy these used, the price is a lot higher. Like it does make you question, like, is it worth it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you don't need the speed and you don't need the AI features, you don't need like the autofocus improvements, don't need the video stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like listing more and more things.
I mean, I know it's better. I'm just saying, like, it does seem like it's not that much better.
I think that the stack sensor brings a lot. To me, this is a major improvement over the A7R5. But for the photographer that is shooting one photo at a time,
Capturing the decisive moment, as one does.
yes, I think that one can be very happy with an A7R5, even though this camera exists. Though I think that the A7R6 is better in every way.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's better. It's just a matter of, it's a question of, is it, say, $1,600 better if you're comparing like a used A7R5 to a new A7R6?
It just depends on who you are, right? It depends on your situation. If you're constantly running into rolling shutter issues, or you just like need more speed out of it, I do think that it could make sense. I think for a lot of photographers, jumping from an A7R5 to an A7R6 will make sense, but I expect that for most people, it's going to be a matter of jumping from an A7R3, or like maybe a 4.
Exactly. I think even though these cameras don't come out every year, it is absolutely at the point that most people are not upgrading every new version.
Well, that's why, I mean, I assume that's why Sony reuses sensors every other time. Like they TikTok it.
Yeah.
They use the same sensor in the, well, I guess they didn't do it for the, say, A7 IV and the A7 III. But they did for the Rs. They did it for the 3 and the 4 and the 2 and the 3. So, and the A1, they use that one twice. So,
I mean, it makes sense to me. Like, yeah, it's like I said, these cameras are good enough that, you know, we've said the same about Nikon. You know, it just seems like you don't always need to upgrade every generation.
Yeah, and like I think that both of those things can be true. I think that from a like did Sony out Sony situation, I think they did. I think this is Sony at its best. This camera. I don't think this is just an iterative update. I think that this is a substantial update to the R line.
Okay.
And they did a really, really good job with this release. I think that can be true. And it can also be true to say for the average person, buying a used A7R4 makes more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I do agree. I think if you have unlimited money to spend, this is clearly the best camera, and it's exciting that they've done all these things, but that's not going to be the case for everybody.
The best camera that doesn't say Fuji on it.
That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us, and if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com, and you can find us on Twitter at CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.